What's up, Roulette Fools? Brent with AOB. Happy Friday. And it's actually Friday for everybody. It's fifth Friday. Last night, in case you weren't able to join us, we did an evening live stream, 8 hours long. Started at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we didn't finish up until sometime around 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Late for this old guy, very late for everybody else that were on the East Coast and beyond. But if you haven't had a chance, we're going to start trying to stream every Thursday evening. Jump in there. It's just a totally different vibe. It's really, really nice. It's low key. We just kind of hang and have a good time. It's really very, very much different than our daytime streams for whatever reason. All right, let's jump right into it. Here is our 1 million challenge update. We are currently at 90,225. If we look at by month, remember, by the end of March, we only needed to be at 33,050. So we are really, really, really doing really well. Really, really, really doing really well. And, but we're not going to get complacent. That's dangerous, right? We got a long ways to go to $1 million. So we're not even a tenth of the way there. So we're not going to get complacent. Okay, now we're going to do the comment picker for life-changing money, $10 still this week. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to draw and see how many winners we're going to have today. And instead of me doing it, and just off the top of my head, we have the wheel. So let's hit the wheel here and see just how many winners we will have today. Come on. Oh, we are going to. Oh, it just went past 2. Okay, well, we still get our 1 here. We still get our 1. Not a problem. And now let's pull up our winner here. And if you'll remember here, the words that you had to have 2 words, fresh and skid, separated by 1 word at least in a sentence. Okay. So when I pick the winner, what I do after that is I go and I look up in YouTube. It'll show us the entire sentence here, but I can also go look in YouTube, but it'll show us here. You have to have both words. One won't cut it. All right, let's pick our winner for this video. Boom. And the winner is LXCES. Congratulations. Fresh video, man. Like that skid. Perfect. Love that. Hey, LX, congratulations, brother. You are the winner of life-changing $10. Get in our Discord, create a ticket, and you will be paid out, okay? If you have any questions on how to do that, look down in our video. Go down in the history of our videos. And not too far, you can look at the playlist, how to, you will see a video on how to get into Discord, how to create a ticket, all that. All right, if you have any questions, just get in our Discord. One of our admins will be more than happy to help you. Congratulations, man. That's great. All right, I appreciate you viewing, man. All right, here we go. We're going to get into it today. And so we're going to do another strategy today. And then at the end, I'm going to give you an update. We're going to play around. I told you I've been building a strategy. It's just for fun, but it's actually been doing very, very well. So we're going to play it today. I'm going to show you, and I would love to get feedback. I have it posted in our Discord under the Roulette strategies. I would love for you guys to help me out to build this thing to make it even better. Right now, I think it needs some finesse around the progressions after, say, 4 and 5. I think we can do a better job. So, all right, we will be right back, and we'll get right into it, starting with another strategy for 15 minutes, $500 bankroll. Let's go. Okay, fools, here we are. So today we're going to do the moving quarters, spreading corners, and the way that I play it. This is certainly not a strategy that I have come up with. This has been around for a long time, and people do all sorts of variation of progressive coverage systems, streets, corners, splits, you name it. We've done it. Not we, but you know what I mean. So the way that I like this, I've tested this many times head to head. And the way that I prefer playing this, and we just won, and we're doing $5 units, we're starting out with 4 corners. Now, I know some people like starting out with 1, 2, or 3. I have found that 4, for me, is that sweet spot, okay? That's a sweet spot. And let's get this timer going. And the reason I say that is because what I noticed is when you start out with 1 corner, right, you got 4 numbers. What are the chances you're going to hit that? It's pretty low. So what I found is that you will often, more likely than not, miss on those first 2 or 3 progressions. That's wasted money, right? Now, I get it. If you do hit it, it's a payout of 8 to 1. So you're going to profit way more, right? But I have found just in my, even though I've played it a lot of times, it's actually a very low, small amount for a test group, right? But I have found that 4, you're covering 16 numbers. That's a really good place. I'm going to show you the progressions that I use on it. So far, we've been lucky enough to get it. Again, $500 bankroll, 15 minutes, $5 units is by far much higher than I would use with a $500 bankroll only, all right? Like I've said over and over, this is just, we're having fun for this week and next week, just putting some strategies to the test and seeing how well they behave with the $500 bankroll when we're pushing the limits on the unit size. All right, so when I lose on this one, okay, I stayed the same 4 corners and I martingale. So now we have $10 per unit. We have a $40 bet. And from here on out, we'll start progressing. And make sure if you're playing this, all right, make sure if you're playing this, you should be pairing your streets. And what I mean by pairing your streets is the 1-4 is a paired street, 7-10, 13-16. So start from the left or from the very right and then go groups of 2. And that's where your corners should fall on, because if you put a corner, say on the, let's say we put a corner on this 4-8 corner, that's going to screw you up. You're not going to be able to put 6 non-overlapping corners unless you split your bets in half and you go down to, all right, we're spreading to the 5th. We are matching up the amount. So now we have 5 corners and we're martingaling. So you can see this gets expensive. We're already at $100 bet and we're only covering 20. The thing that you need to be aware of, and it's just psychological, is when you play on the board, instead of, so the streets, double streets, those are also considered inside bets. But when you're playing either the straight ups, the corners, or the splits, oh my gosh, we missed it again. Dang, burn it. All right, let's go. Like I said, we are in precarious. I was hoping we're going to win that. We're going to spread one more. It goes to 20, and we're going to martingale. This would pretty much be it. This is how dangerous it is at going at 5. But I want to live on the edge and have a little fun here and see if along the way, if we can't get some good profits going on. But when you play like this and you tend to put chips all over the board, visually, it can look like you're covering way more than you are, right? Oftentimes I'll look at it and I'll go, oh, there's a ton of coverage, and realizing we're only covering 20 numbers, right? Like some of my strategies, spread eagle, boom, that's what we needed. This doesn't get us all the way back, but it gets us, at least we can bring our bets down. All right, now because we are in very precarious position, I'm going to go ahead and start again rather than look for recovery. Normally, if we were betting $1 units, I would keep it here to go up. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and bring it down, and we're just going to run this back. Maybe what we'll do is double it. Oh, we'll just leave it. We'll run it back and see if we can get a couple wins in a row. This isn't the greatest way. The way I'm playing it isn't the greatest way. But going back to what I was talking about, just be careful. When you look at people post strats and you see a bunch of splits or corners and it looks like, how can I miss? Take a look, man. Take a look, because you can miss. You can absolutely miss. All right. There we go. There's a win. Get us back on track here. And we're just going to rebet. Now, Clever Bets, our auto betting tool that controls your mouse, it has 4 corners. And basically, after every time you win, it's going to randomize your first 4 corners for your first starting bet. Everything else is the same, but it's going to randomize those first 4 corners. They may not be in a row like this. You could have the 1-5, then you could have the, let's say over here, 36-32, 25-29, 20-20. It's going to put them, but it's going to keep them in those paired streets, which is very important so you don't have overlapping corners. All right, there we go. Okay, we're catching up. It was a good move to bring our bets back down. Even though we hit 2 there, we would have been way up if we had stayed with the bet, but we just can't do that with 540. Anyway, so going back to that, just be very careful when you look at bets that have straight up splits and corners. It has a visual appearance that you're covering way more than you really are, and that lends yourself to a false sense of security, right? Versus when you put 5 double streets, you just see these 5 bets at the below. You don't really, it doesn't look like it's covering the board visually, even though you are covering 30 numbers, right? All right, let's go. Let's see if we can get a couple hits. We're about 6 minutes into this. No. Okay, there we go. Well, we're going to get losses on this, right? Because we're only covering 16 numbers to begin with. Let's go. We're going to double. We're just going to martingale it and leave it right here. Let's see if we can get string some wins together for this one. Stay tuned for your 2 words. We're going to be doing 2 words, and this week it's $10 giveaways, and we're going to start creeping the amount of the giveaways week after week after week. So pay attention to the 2 words. I'll give one out here shortly, but remember, you have to have another word, at least one word in between the 2 code words, and just put it in a single sentence and you're golden. Okay, and we'll draw another winner. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. Nice hit. That's a profit. That's a profit. There we go. And we're just going to stick right here. Again, if you've watched any of my stuff, you know my philosophy. Numbers on the wheel, where they're positioned, makes no difference. Follow the winner, follow the loser. Patterns make no difference overall. Sure, in a particular session, one may do better than the other. But if you're watching any of our live streams, myself and Brad, we've been doing an experiment where we're playing red and black, and he's playing follow the winner, and I'm playing follow the loser. And we, after 4 sessions, we have literally come out neck and neck, almost tied every single session. In fact, this last session, we were literally 1 win, 1 loss away from each other. So, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to double it up. So my suggestion is, when I hear people say, follow the winner is better, you'll win more, it's not true. For that session, if you noticed, if we were playing red and black and we looked up there and we noticed there's a lot of reds, a lot of blacks, sure, why not? That's no guarantee of what's going to happen in the future, right? Because past results have no effect. But wheel bias, dealer bias, even though with red and black, dealer bias, I mean, that's just kind of a, oh man, that's kind of a hard thing to actually do, because every other, they're spinning. Unlike groups, I can understand, sections of the wheel. All right, $10, and here we go back into the deep again. Let's hope we can win right here. If you win on this 3rd progression while we're covering 5 corners, you go into profit each time. If you have to go to the 6th, it's going to take you 2 hits for every loss to get back going up there, okay? So you really want to win by the time you spread out to 5 corners. Now, there are some strategies where people start putting splits and go beyond 5, 6 corners. That's not for me. There we go. Boom. All right. That should put us nicely into profit up here, right about up here. There we go. And we're going to restart. All right. Let's see. Some questions that keep coming into our Discord, and fair. We got a lot of new people. What is my bankroll size? How much can I profit? How much should my unit size be? How much do I need to make for this much? Okay. So I've mentioned this every time, and it's fair. Let's go over it again. 1, your profit target for the day, you can work it 2 ways. You can go, here's what my profit is, and then you're going to have to work backwards and go, how much am I going to need for this? The easiest way I say is, get your disposable income first. Figure out what that is, okay? So we just hit again, so we're just going to repeat our bet here. For those of you new, these are 4 corners. Each corner has a payout of 8-1. So when we hit on this corner right now, and there's $5 on it, which is 1 unit for us, $5 is 1 unit. It's paying $40, plus we get our 5 back. So we're going to be pulling back $45. Our investment is $20. So we're profiting $25. Anyway, the easiest, simplest way, all right, we got another hit here. The easiest, simplest way that I can explain it is figure out your disposable income. That's the easiest way, because few of us have like just this unlimited disposable income. So starting at the other end of it, going, I want to make $300 a day, and then working backwards and then going, okay, this is the disposable income. That's not realistic for most of us. Most of us know what our disposable income is. Most of us know how much we're willing to invest into the gambling, your challenge, whatever you want to call it. So let's say you come back and you have $300. All right, you have 300 bucks. The next step is what strategy you're going to use, because if you're using a high coverage system, right, then you're going to have to put more units down, and more units mean these tables go down to 10 cents. So it's not as if you can just go infinitely down. You got to know. So the higher the coverage systems means the more units you're going to have to put down, which means you're going to have a table with lower, unit availability. 10 cents in this case is the lowest, right? And it's going to get even more critical if your bankroll is, say, $50 or $100. Playing 5 double streets with 10 cents, that's 50 cents. If you have $50, that can still wreck you because it's not enough. So once you have your bankroll, figure out what it is, that strategy that most resonates with you. If you don't know, play with gold coin. Play, mess around. Don't jump right into it right away. Figure out what strategy works best for you and your personality. That's often overlooked. And I really think it's important that you match up the strategy with your personality. And I know that sounds weird because statistically and stuff, it doesn't make a difference. But if you like the big wins and you don't mind getting deep underwater, and then all of a sudden you get a banger win, you can be looking at the outside 1-to-1 bets. You could be looking at some of them that you cover 4 numbers, and that's all you cover is 4 numbers, right? If you're more of, I would rather, like me, my personality says, I feel like I'm a little bit more pragmatic. My personality says, I would rather cover 75 to 80% of the board, have a lower payout, and risk losing a larger amount than have a lot of losses and then get one loss that's a banger and you hope that you get that. Because I tell you what, I say there's no atheist in a foxhole. Well, I'll tell you what, when you start getting down to 5, 6, 7, 8 progressions and your next bet is huge, nobody there is going to say, oh yeah, but it's hit 8 times before. So even though I'm only covering 6 numbers, I'm going to hit here now. No. What's going to happen is you are going to get down 6 or 8 progressions, and all of a sudden you got this big bet. Let's say you're playing single dozens and you put this big bet on a single dozen. I guarantee it that you won't be going, well, I've missed 8 times before, so yeah, I'm feeling really good about this bet. No, you're going to be going, crap, I'm only covering 12 numbers. I've got 25 numbers that are whacks here. What are the chances of me hitting this? For me, I would rather have a bigger bet on 5 double streets where I go, okay, I've got a really big bet here, but at least I feel way more comfortable with an 81% chance of one of my numbers hitting. All right, that's just me. Again, so match up the strategies that you're going to use to your personality type. Once you have the strategy identified, and that strategy should also go based on your bankroll. So if I have a $20 bankroll, I'm not playing 5 double streets. I'm not playing 9 streets. I'm not playing, a progressive coverage corner system. I'm going to probably play outside bets for 10 cents. I got 1 unit, 10 cents. That's it. And I got more progressions that way that can last because I have such a relatively small bankroll compared to what the minimum size bet is here. All right, we lost. We're going to martingale up. We are actually out of time, so we're going to run this one last spin right here. And even if we lose, we'll still be up $80. I mean, we could have stopped. Our high here was 220 bucks. So I'm going to do this. You know what? We're just going to go ahead, and if we lose this, let's follow the progression through, even if this tanks us. I'd like to say we could stop and we're up at least $80, which is pretty good. Considering, we don't have a lot of progressions here. Okay, that is a loss. We're going to go ahead and keep going. I would stop it here. So keep in mind, we are finishing this at $80, but I'm going to go ahead and push the limits. We're going to match the 20 and we're going to martingale again. All right. Let's hope we can get a hit. We need a hit here because we're still on 5 corners. It's going to profit us. It's going to recover plus profit us. So let's see if Lilia will give us a hit right here, right now. So hopefully that makes sense. Get your bankroll, figure out what style you want to play. The third piece is how long are you willing to play? All right. I thought I was going to hit that 24. We got it. We are ending this bad boy right here, right now, at $240 in just a little over 15 minutes. We'll take that. Okay, now I'm going to bring you back real quick to the strategy I'm working on. And I'm going to show you a couple of variations. And if you can, get in our Discord and give some input into this. I'd love to know what you think. Right now I'm putting 6 units down. I'll show you the original that I've come up with, which it's been in a flash. I mean, I really haven't taken any time. And then I'll show you what I'm thinking. All right, 27, that's a whack. So for me right now on this strategy, the next step is I bring it back up. I add 1 unit down here, and then I add a split directly above that street bet. Okay, now we have 12 units down. All right, 2 units on the street, 1 unit on the 3 corners, 1 unit on the 3 splits. This one, kids, don't do this at home. And if you are going to do it, even 10 cents is very, very high. I suggest you play this right now with a 1 cent bet. I'm working on it so that the payouts are more evenly distributed, because right now, really, these nine numbers on these 3 streets are what you need to really win. And I'm not crazy about strategies where you're limiting your wins to a very finite number of numbers. Okay, so we're going to add another one, and we're going to come straight up and to the right corner. Straight up from the street bet to the right corner, straight up from the street bet to the right corner. Okay. And sorry, jumping back to what we were talking about. So now you've identified your bankroll. Now you've identified the strategy that you want to use. You've identified your starting units. What's next? You have to decide, how much time am I going to grind on this a day? The longer you can grind and you're willing to put in there. Oh my gosh, he's hitting all third dozen. Look at that. Thanks, Lilia. Okay, here we go. We're going to add another unit. And we're going to do the corner on the other side of the corner we just put up on the 3rd and 2nd column there. So now we got all those covered. All right. So the longer you can grind, the better. And to make that clear, all right? So you say I have a $500 bankroll. I want to make 10%. And I really suggest you go around the 3% to 5%, that you can make that very consistently. All right, that hit here, which is an outside corner, which is the same as a loss. Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to match this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, and we're going to martingale the whole thing. Now we're at a $6.40 bet. Now what we need is we need to hit the streets that are covered, right, by these street bets. We need to cover this, and ideally the second column pays the best, right? Because you're covered by the street and you're covered by 3 corners plus a split. So we really want to hit there. All right, this one's 2 covered. This one's 2 corners. It's still a loss. Okay, so we're going to go up and we're going to double up again. Now, I haven't played with this enough to know, can we just go up by 1 unit? Especially when we have these partial losses, right? On those partial losses, I think you can just go up 1 unit rather than martingaling. But like I said, I'm going to be rearranging these chips so that these corners, where it hits these outside corners and up here that aren't covered by the streets, at least those aren't a loss. I'd like to make those, at the worst case, break evens. At the best case, I'd like to see them at least have something. Again, there it is. We're still a partial loss. She's hitting these numbers that aren't covered. And what we're hoping for right now is a street hit on any of these 12 numbers, right? The 4, 10, 16, and 22 streets, what we're hitting at. All right. Okay, let's go. Let's see if we can get out of this. We're bet right now is 25.60, which is okay. And that's why you want to start really low with these kind of systems. You want to start very, very low. This is very reminiscent to me of, for those of you that have been around for a while, Spread Eagle, right? We made Spread Eagle, and that one is, oh my gosh, Hit us on a street, would you please? Oh my God. All right. We're up to $51 bet. We started with a 60-cent bet, and now we're up to $51.20. That just shows you how dangerous. Now, the saving grace on this one is we hit any of these 12 numbers, boom, it goes all the way up, not just recovery, but we get into a nice little profit. We really want to see if we can hit the 5, 11, 17, 23. I'm not a fan. Luckily, this one doesn't have just those 4 numbers that profit. Those are the best 4 numbers, but any of these 12 numbers will do. Oh my God, she just won't hit those. And she hit 9 again. All right, or not 9 again, but she hit one of the ones just covered by corners. All right, here we go. We are at a $102 bet. What we'll probably do is if we don't get it here, we'll probably call it quits. That'll put us down 154. We are at 583. If we lose this, we're still at 583, which means we're $83 in profit right now. So there's no sense carrying on. I just wanted you to see how this was going. All right. By the way, first word, rain. Okay. That's your first word, rain. Maybe it's because I'm in Oregon and it's just rain, rain, rain. Oh my God. All right. You know what? We're here to gamble. I'm going one more. This is a $204 bet. We lose this. We have 378. That's okay. I'll grind that back. We'll be down $122 on this session. But let's hope we can hit it and walk away. And we've been grinding for about 26 minutes here. So I want to end this video as it is. So yes. First word, like I said, rain. And I'll give you the next word here coming up here pretty soon. All right. Come on, Lilia. Hit us one of these streets. Por favor. Man. All right. That's the danger. And that's the problem with this strategy right now. There are just too many numbers that are wax, and we're limiting ourselves to basically 12 numbers, a single dozen. And that's what I told you. When the bets start getting big, do I look at that and go, oh, well, it's missed those 12 numbers this many times, so I feel really comfortable. It's good. No. I'm going, crap. The chance of hitting those 12 numbers is pretty slim. Okay. So, all right. That's it for today. We did really well with the progressive moving corners. I like that strategy for small hit and run sessions. It's not something I like playing over a long period of time, but that's just me. I know other people have had big success with it. So we'll just have to wait to see. Okay. The second word that you need to include in your sentence is brown. Okay, brown. So include those two. We'll do a drawing. And again, every week we're going to keep increasing the bets. And hopefully we can start getting the wheel of misfortune to spin more than just one winner. All right, that's it for today. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Be good humans. Okay, be good to each other. Most importantly, seriously, be good to yourself. I see in our Discord, people get rinsed and they're really hard on themselves. Listen, move on. Forgive yourself. Learn from your mistakes and go on. Okay. All right. That's it. Us Against the Casinos always. I'll see you next time. Cheers.